Welcome to the Masters of Basketball. Alongside with Chris Ramirez and Lahh Woods, giving you another episode. And right now, we are going to get into about the HBCU. Some good stuff is going on recently with the HBCU Classic. At the All Star Week, NBA All Star Weekend in Cleveland about a week and a half ago, and last week the CIAA tournament. In the month of March, we're gonna have next week will be the MEAC and SWAC tournaments, and whoever wins that will be getting automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. And how's it going today?
It's going great today. Just getting back and recovering and reflecting on the January events that took place. Tampa Bay Masters, they had over 50 teams participating. Teams from throughout the United States came down for Masters basketball, age 45, age 50, age 60, over age 70. Great turnout. It was a great event. Now during the month of February, everyone is in Ecuador for the Lahh basketball tournament that's taking place there during this month. So next month going into March, there's a couple of events happening. One's happening in Cincinnati, Ohio, Cincinnati Masters, and there will also be an Easter Holiday Classic taking place in the New York, New Jersey area. Of course, all of this information is on frontcourtmasters.com. Moving to May, you have Dublin Masters taking place in Ireland, and you also have the NBA National Championships, which are taking place in Coral Springs, Florida. That'll get us into the spring, just about heading into the summer. And of course, we'll be updating information on this site. And also, you can always go to the events page on frontcourtmasters.com. So stay in shape, stay ready, and stay healthy.
Well, thank you for sharing, Lahh. Now we want to really dive into our show and discuss about the HBCU basketball events. That there were some highlights. Like I said recently, at back was a week and a half ago at the NBA All Star Weekend in Cleveland.
Yes.
Howard beat Oregon State, so that started off. It was a I saw some of the highlights. It was a good game. It's great to have the crowd and the support there. Also, we had also last week, this past weekend, and we just had the CIAA tournament um, completed. It was at the Royal Farms Arena in Baltimore, Maryland.
Oh,
And
wow.
yes, and we want to give congratulations to Lincoln University in Pennsylvania. The women's basketball team won the CIAA tournament by beating Elizabeth City State 67-52. And in the men's championship, congratulations to Fayetteville State, which beat Virginia Union 65-62. And it's their first CIAA title since 1973. So that it was a great, from looking at a lot of the highlights, it was just more than a basketball event. It's a lot of off the court, some great concerts. DJ Jazzy Jeff was there, and Rakim, a lot of artists, a lot of keynote speakers. It was a great environment. The CIAA was an experience. It's not just a basketball event. A lot of you just got to give a shout out to the CIAA making the adjustments. It's been a glorified basketball tournament for numerous years. Back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, it was just strictly basketball. And
Yes.
you remember there's a lot of legends that came out. First, the coaches, you got to give them their props. Mainly Clarence Big House Plains and John McClendon stand out. As you know, Don McClendon was the first African American to coach at a white institution. And
I
that
see.
was, yes. And another person, a couple of people want to give shout outs more to was the Dave Robbins, who was coach at Virginia Union. He was known as the White Shadow. And then you had Charles Christian from Norfolk State. Also, great history of players who came there. Also, we want to give shout outs to Earl the Pearl Monroe, um, what is it, Cleo Hill, John,
Yes.
yes. Also, you want to give Sam Jones, Ronald Flip Murray, who went to Shaw. Um, Also, Rick Mahorn played at Hampton. Also, Charles Oakley, Ben Wallace, Jackie Jackson, Terry Davis, and AJ English played at Virginia Union. And also, you have Bobby Danbridge, Pee Wee Kirkland, and Ralph Talley, who played at Norfolk State. You have Fred Curly Neal, rest in peace, who played at Johnson C. Smith. Candy Animal Bannister, St. Augustine, Al Addles at North Carolina A&T, and Earl Lloyd, who played at West Virginia State. We showed some great things. It used to be a place for NBA scouts. I know the culture of basketball has changed since the late 90s and 2000s, where a lot of changes, where a lot of talents are, the talent's not, there's still talented players, but not at an NBA level like it once was in the CIAA. And number two, you can see right now, next week we have the MEAC and SWAC competing for their in for the Division One, the NCAA tournament. Whoever wins, they get the automatic berth, and that's it's a blessing there. And I know that.
So let me ask you something real quick. Sorry to interrupt you. I mean, for so many years, you've had so many gifted and talented athletes coming out of the throughout the country, you know, from the inner cities or from small country towns or what have you. So what was the difference between a program, successful program in the CIAA and say a Division II or Division I NCAA program? What was the dividing line and what was the difference historically?
Well, in the CIA was Division II. It was just more of a small school version. Talent you could always be found there. Division I still had good players. It was just wherever the player will fit into. And a lot of recruit there. The CIAA has some good recruiters. Go out there and some players who they developed, they got better at their craft, became fit more in the program, and they just got better and they were being found. And as you know, of some players they just got better at college level. Maybe in high school, situations a lot different. Wherever their location was, maybe it's a lot of different scenarios. What happened is, I know they probably didn't go to the top camps, or they just never played on top AAU programs, whatever the reason was. But they found another opportunity, and coaches looked at them, and or also players get the word of mouth and they have the opportunity, and some of them just got better and fit and flourished very well.
Right. Well, I think any young adult who has an opportunity to go to college and develop academic success and professional success in terms of preparing themselves for careers or professional opportunities as working adults, I think that's paramount. There always has been talent throughout the nation, whether in the inner cities or countries or small towns. Now, if you're going back into the 1960s or thereabouts, you know, there was a lot of resources that the major universities were offering to the so-called elite players coming out of these communities. And a lot of those young men were able to take advantage of it. But I think the universities were able to profit from it. I think the universities were able to present these situations for young adults to come to their universities to build their programs. And some of these programs were quite successful financially, as you know. So I think it's great that we have this contemporary promotion for that conference, but there's been, you know, a number of years where the level, the playing field was not level in regards to their inability to compete with the major universities in regards to resources, financial or otherwise, that were being offered to the players. But it's interesting that this door seems to be cracking open at the same time that players are now being able to begin to reap the financial benefits of their image, the financial benefits of their participating in other professional or artistic business endeavors. And prior to this time, they were not able to do so. What are your thoughts on that?
You that is true. They have to have those. It had its down times, but it was still surviving. It was still doing well for itself. Now today they have the resources. Now you see the marketing has really done well. Especially with you see with football now. They have the resources. They get in the top players there from different schools. As you see, I want to put football. I know it's a basketball show, but let me use what has happened. Deion Sanders
Yes.
accepted the job at Jackson State year and a half. He's been a voice. He's been the voice of football, HBCU football, and that scenes is elevated. Not only they have gotten student athletes, but he's already gotten 5-star athletes even going into the school or transferring from different institutions because they reap the benefits of the HBCUs. Number two, he has elevated the Celebration Bowl. You know, it was just another bowl between the MEAC and SWAC champions. This place packed it up at the Celebration Bowl at the Mercedes Dome in Atlanta, Georgia. His name
Wow.
stand out. He became that voice and more than coach. And I see basketball is trying to build, and it's been working on it. It's done very well. I know we just need to see like more of the top games, crowd improvements, better um, exhibitions besides the game of basketball, have a lot more better events, more opportunities to market that. And especially one person that's done very well and is putting it together, trying to put it together is Chris Paul. He's promoted a couple of HBCU events. I was fortunate to experience that HBCU event in Phoenix. Did very well. Hampton, Norfolk State, Grambling, and Morgan State did very extremely well. It was a nice crowd, but I feel that more market improvements on the other supporting cast we need. So it's important we have to market it to have a better platform and just for the student athletes to reap those financial benefits.
Right.
And basketball I see it's a process. And I think it's now another thing I want to share with you too. On April 3rd, the HBCU All-Star game is going to be in New Orleans during the Final Four, and
Oh,
that's
really?
another yes, that's another event that's being promoted. And yes, it's getting out. It's the word is getting out there slowly but surely.
But let me ask you something, Chris. I mean, you've got amateur sports, you've got high school and college sports, you have professional sports, of course. And it seemed like it's slowly, some of the resources are slowly getting back to the individual players and organizations, or even colleges that are promoting athletics and education. And, those are good things. But I haven't seen not even a heartbeat of resources, not a fair percentage of resources going back to the communities where a lot of these football and basketball players were born and raised. How can the success of these professional fields be channeled to lay a foundation or improved the social conditions in the communities that these athletes come from? What do you think would be the way to go about it, or is it never going to happen?
It's doable. I have to say it's going to be doable. It's just to reach out to those communities to reap the benefits of the HBCUs and for a lot of people from the institutions will will have to come to those communities and market themselves and make and promote their product. That's the only way it's going to get out there.
All right, what
And
about the Division I programs that reap, they get the best athletes coming out of
sure,
uh, socially and financially impoverished communities? And when is some of that, is it ever going to come to a point where the colleges or the professional ranks will be in support communities that the players come from, or is that just on the players themselves?
Well, it's right now from the players itself. It's just need to get the community more involved. That's my opinion about it. I think it's coming around. I think right now with the promotions and the name getting out there with the ESPN telecast, ESPN is getting it out there. It's just right now, are we going to um, promote it more on an academic standpoint? I know we're targeting more student athletes, but maybe that might open the door for Black colleges, but we need the other resources from the institutions to talk about the academic standpoint, talk about the culture, because there's a lot of culture that goes back into it. And a lot of people are not known about that. And we looked at
Sure.
a lot of cities throughout the U.S., especially in the West Coast. They need to come out and market the schools. Even some of the I know it's tough because it's all about the budget and what they can afford to do. I know being out there in person plays a big role. I know we could promote it on TV and on the social media and the different platforms. But if you're not making your presence out there, it's very challenging. And and then you're gonna have these students who never been to these type of places or not familiar with the HBCU. It's gonna be challenging. So it's really gonna take a good marketing team to really get out there. It's really going to be, they're going to need a lot of support, a lot of sponsorship to have these institutions to come out and promote their product. And I think it's just having more of interface event. That's where
Right.
it's going to have to stand out.
Great.
But
I mean, you got a great command of the issues. I guess we'll be bringing this up again to
yes,
maybe monitor the progress or the interaction or lack of interaction with some of these inner city communities. And we got about 5 minutes left. Anything else that you want to go over before we prepare to wrap this up?
sure. And I'm going to tell you, I'm just let you know, sharing this with you. I'm a, I didn't graduate from Norfolk State, but I was part of Norfolk State. As you know, when we first met, I went to Norfolk State for a couple of years. So I
Right.
have that HBCU. I'll claim it. I'll claim the HBCU. And just let you know, sharing a part of this, I was a part of the team manager, part of the 1990 Norfolk State basketball program, CIAA championship too.
Wow.
So, yes, I was part of that. I know we know each other. This first time I'm sharing them. I was the team
Yeah.
manager, and this is me going to the CIAA. I think CIAA basketball is a great platform. To me, it's like the Bayou Classic of Grambling Southern, the environment, the atmosphere, social environment. It's really awesome. And for me to experience that one season of it and being a part of it, not going through the whole platform, the stage, as else winning a championship. And so amazing when we think about the CIAA, that's their royal crown. People forget that some people don't look at, we got the NCAA tournament in Division Two. And it's
I'm
not
sorry, you
really,
said people forget what?
people don't realize, hey, when they think CIAA, that's their royal crown. Like in New York City, the PSAL City Championship, the CHS, that's their royal crown. There's a state championship. And it's not really something that people, if you win it, great. If not, great. But same thing with the CIAA. You win the national championship, great. If not, great. But if you win that CIAA championship, that's the Royal Crown championship.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
and it's amazing. I'm going to share you a couple of things. The most recent one I recall, Virginia Union won in 1992 with Ben Wallace, who used to play former NBA All Star. And then in
Okay.
1989, I'm going to share you another story before we wrap this up. North Carolina Central did not win the CIAA championship, but they went on and win the national championship. So
Okay.
you would like to glorify a national championship over a conference championship, but they never got the opportunity to win that CIAA championship in their run. So
Gotcha.
they wanted that CIAA championship either put that
Well,
on as part of their bucket too list, but
that's
unfortunately,
awesome. Well, we should definitely start posting some of that information on our websites to let
for
people
sure,
know. the history, the culture, and tradition that's involved. And we also have to mention Mr. Bob McCullough
Yes.
for his years down in that conference. And I know his name is all over the record books. And you have to mention Bob McCullough from Each One Teach One out of New York City.
Oh, definitely. Yes. He is an icon. That can take that away. But right now, that's going to wrap it up. We'd like to thank you for tuning in to our show. You can reach Lahh at Front Court on his website at www.frontcourtmasters.com or on the Instagram at Front Court Master. I can be reached at online at the Hoop Post at www.thehooppost.com and also on Twitter and Instagram at the Hoop Post. Once again, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Peace.